Let's see. Testing. Good evening, family. How we doing? Just making sure y'all can hear me loud and clear. Let me know in the chat. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic weekend and are ready for an even better week of trading. I know I'm excited. Take a look at these markets here in just about 1 minute. Let me see who we got in the chat real quick. We got Jose, we got Jerry. What's going on, everybody? If you guys could hear me, let me know. Say what's up in the chat. We got SBG. We got that boy Free Zone Lou. We're attracting these messages. What's good, bro? Jerry, how you doing? Matthew. Okay. Tirso Lopez. We got Jose. What's up? How we doing? Good to see y'all. We got that boy Ray on the call. We're gonna have Abel on here in a little bit. You guys know we're excited. So let's give it another 30 seconds, family. Feel free to share out this link to anybody that's ready to get the markets, you know, scoping the markets, taking a look at things. I mean, I know I'm ready, so I'm counting down 30 seconds, baby. Let's go. Alright. Let's get it, family. Let's get it. Let's turn this music down real quick. And as you guys know, every Sunday we like to kickstart the week by taking a look at the economic calendar, right? We just want to be aware of any upcoming fundamental events that we need to be aware of. This way we can trade with confidence throughout the week. So let me pull you guys up right here real quick over to investing.com. We're going to use this just to take a quick look at, again, like I said, the upcoming news events for the week. I like to use this just to quickly get an overview. And then I also have Financial Juice open here, which will give us, the same kind of calendar, a little bit more difficult to look at, in my opinion, for the stream. But we also have a bunch of headlines from over the weekend, too, that we could potentially take a look at and discuss. So just to jump through the calendar events for this week, right, what I'll personally be looking at and what the market's going to give us in general. We got on Monday a holiday over for the JPY. And then moving into that day, it's actually pretty light. We have some manufacturing numbers coming out for the USD, so some soft data at 8:30, as well as some Canadian data. But really, the big thing here is going to be monetary policy statement coming out for Australia. So AUD traders, there may be some volatility there, just on that monetary policy statement. And then into Tuesday, what else are we looking at? Retail sales for US dollar, CPI numbers for the Canadian dollar. So these are two good volatile events coming out at 8:30. Moving into the 9 o'clock hour, not much that we're looking at. Same thing until 10 a.m. Again, there's some soft data here. There are events, but nothing that we look at in particular. And then moving into the more of the Asian session, Tokyo session, we do have more inflation numbers coming out for New Zealand. So that's Canadian dollar and New Zealand dollar on Tuesday. Moving into Wednesday, we continue the CPI trend with the pound coming out with CPI as well as the euro. I am going to be interested in to see what this pound inflation number does. It is forecasted at 8.2 from 8.7 for the year over year and the month over month, also looking at a slight decrease. I am interested in this because the pound has suffered some of the highest inflation numbers out of the major currencies. We could even see, again, some of the euro numbers here down at 5 and 6%. The US just started tipping into the 3 and the 4% for core. So this still kind of remains pretty elevated. It will be interesting to see if some of this wants to begin to play catch up, or if there's some possibility that, again, we get like a miss on this and for some reason come out between the 8.2 and the previous of 8.7. So we are interested in this because, again, it's the lagging data right now in regards to what's happening on a more broad scale. But again, we're moving into that Euro CPI. I also want to see what happens here. Does the trend continue where we begin to see decreases across the board? Again, their core CPI, much like the US core CPI, seems to be sticky for some time. I'm just going to look at this real quick. Yeah, it's even slightly upticked recently. Okay. So yeah, this still remains sticky, meaning it hasn't really went up, hasn't really went down in some releases. Moving into the New York trading hours, we have building permits, housing starts. Let's see. Moving into Tokyo, Asia, there's some unemployment numbers coming out for the Australian dollar as well as the official unemployment rates. So again, some volatility around that for the Tokyo traders. On Thursday, we are moving into not much. You have initial jobless claims here. You have some more, again, employment numbers, Fed balance sheets, some home sales numbers. It'll be interesting to see what initial jobless claims comes out as, only because there's been some interesting numbers between ADP and NFP on last release for people that were trading that or aware of that. That is why I look at this initial jobless claims as a potential interesting number. But at 8:30, we'll see what that does. Moving into Friday, core retail sales, interest rate decisions over here. Not too concerned about that though. And then moving into Friday, there's almost nothing else. So it looks like Wednesday is going to be the highlight of my week. I'm really looking at these pound inflation numbers and the euro inflation numbers. Nothing really I'm looking to do on the dollar. I kind of expect it to probably enter some sort of trading range or kind of squeeze pattern in one direction or the other here. But yeah, I'm interested in some of these other foreign currency data releases. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of fundamentals. Let me know if there's any one of these that you guys are looking at in particular. And I have accidentally closed the stream. So give me 1 second, family, to pull you guys back up because I can't see chat. Oh, chat history is not going to load for me. That's neat. There we go. Let me see who else we got in chat. Free Zone Lou says ready to kill it this week. Salute to everyone. 2 trades, what's going on? Trainer Will, good to see you. Warren, Jose, Let, Tony. What's going on, family? Good to see y'all. Yeah, type in the chat, guys, if you are excited about any of the fundamental events this week. I'm going to pop over to the charts real quick, and we'll see if there's any opportunities. Because quite frankly, personally, I had a fantastic week last week. There is a lot to talk about. I forget what we actually talked about last Sunday. I'm pretty sure I can update you guys on a few things. Let me see here real quick. We got charts? Yeah, we got charts. Cool. All right, family, listen. We're gonna keep this rather easy. I'm gonna go over my version of what I think the DXY will continue to do and update you guys on this. We've talked about a few different things on this. Then I will also go over gold, and I'm sure people are going to want me to go over NASDAQ. So I will take care of those personally. I'll let Ray go over whatever he wants to go over. And then when Abel joins us, again, I'm sure he'll want to go over the DXY and a few pairs that he's looking at. So I'm going to go over, again, the DXY, gold, and the NASDAQ, and maybe one other if people really want me to do a fourth one, but I'm going to try to keep it to 3. So just to kind of update everybody on this, the DXY had a fantastic week last week. I mean, maybe not if you're looking at it from the DXY standpoint because it did fall, but this is more or less a lot of what we were looking for to happen in the macro. So again, if you guys go back to previous Sunday calls, or if you're a live trade room member, right? If you're a premium member and you guys were trading with us all last week, there were a few things that we were looking at pretty much ever since we kind of swiped this high and formulated what we expected to be like a midterm to longer term top. I still have my doubts about this holding in the real long term macro, but we'll discuss that in future calls because it's not important right now. But we were looking for a bunch of liquidity levels to get taken. One of them being this one, and then the possibility, of course, of its dropping below this check mark, right? These used to be hourglasses because of the live trade room. I've, updated these because these liquidity levels have been taken. But basically what we're looking at now is a DXY that has broken below major daily liquidity, right? And if you can't see those little circles there, I'll put some red arrows here too, right? Below major daily liquidity. We'll even mark off this area, even though it's not as important to me personally. So really the question is now is like, what becomes of this, right? Because there's a lot of liquidity that's been taken. Even if I go out to the daily, you can see we've even pushed beyond even extended targets. I didn't even get a chance to put an hourglass on this because of how quickly we moved down here in just a matter of like 2 days. So we have taken out a lot of liquidity, which makes me believe, again, one, either we just continue this run, right? We just continue until demand eventually steps in. I'm not going to try to guess where that's going to be at this point, but I do begin to expect ranges to form, either ranges or, again, what we call like compression action. So whether that looks something like this, or if it looks something like this, where you kind of just keep compressing down, again, almost kind of like a little choppy range like this, where you just kind of compress in one direction. So again, maybe we can just continue down ever so annoyingly and slowly. That could be a possibility. Maybe we continue that to the upside. I really have no concrete predictions because we just closed so hard down here, right? Like aside from that Friday, which barely any action happened because again, a lot of the market is just waiting to see what we want to do. Is there waiting on data? Is it just going to slowly kind of work itself out on lower time frames? Because at this point, again, this is extremely overextended. So if I wouldn't even trade this, me personally. Like if I'm gonna trade this, it's gonna be off of really low time frame stuff, and I'm probably gonna be risking virtually nothing. But if I was gonna give you guys my preference, right? Again, if I'm gonna be the market maker, which I'm not, but if I was gonna play the role of market maker, I probably would look for a little bit more down, right? Because I know there's gonna, I mean, not even that the market, obviously, every time you breach liquidity, to some degree, somebody is buying. There's always a buyer in the market because you can't even sell at these prices unless you're getting matched with a buyer. right? Somebody, whether it's big money or small money or stupid money or smart money, somebody's on the other side of the trade. So like, yeah, we've gotten a reaction off of this, but I'm not convinced. Right? I'm not convinced. Even if this turns around and pushes up, that's great. Like it's more about what's happening during that push up than it is about the fact that we pushed below here. All right, so I'm really intrigued on what's going to happen. Again, if I'm the market maker, which again, this is just like me drawing out the best roadmap, is I'm going to probably look for some sort of excuse inside of here to grab, right? So I'm going to look at like smaller time frame action inside of here and just look for like little liquidity pockets. Yet if I'm looking at this 4 hour, there's nothing that specifically stands out to me besides this one little lone candle here. So that could be an idea, but I'm going to knock the time frame down even more and just explore some as far as trading view will allow me to go, really. Come to the 2 hour, yeah, this is the same thing. So I'm getting the same level on both time frames. I could probably try to knock this down, but I would want to go to the 15-minute, and something tells me that trading view is not gonna let me go back that far. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna just have to trust that level, unfortunately, unless I feel like reactivating trading view subscription, which I don't feel like doing right now. So I'm probably gonna look at like 98.32 before I start to look for buys. Unless, again, this starts to formulate some other stuff. Some people are going to ask me, oh, isn't there like a 4 hour OB here? And yeah, technically, by even all of my rules, this is a 4 hour ordered block. Some people that trade the way that I trade and know the exact things that I look for out of an order block will be able to write in the chat on why I don't specifically trust this as being a low. Right? Even this head though has all the characteristics of being a quote unquote order block, right? It's a candle that sweeps major liquidity, which we already know because this line is here. So this is a part of a higher time frame liquidity sweep. It's an engulfing candle and it's supported by volume. Those are like the three core things I'm looking at. There's a fourth thing that I do take into consideration, and I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, but I will let the people that want to take a stab at the guess, and if somebody answers it correctly, then we'll share it with everybody. We'll see if anybody knows why though. Why don't look at that. So for that reason, I do expect this to just build up more liquidity. It get taken, and I'm gonna look for buys personally around this 98.30 level. And for those of you that are in the live trade room, you guys know I also remain bearish on gold. So I'm already holding, I'm sorry, not bearish on gold. What am I saying? You guys know that I'm bullish on gold, right? Which you guys will see in a second where my positions lie and all that. So I still do expect gold to deliver me more this week. With that being said, I do expect this to continue down. Although if we do pull back, I'll tell you guys right now, I would be interested in selling above here. So I would be looking at, let me see if I can refine this down for you guys real quick. Because if you guys, I'm not obviously not selling it from here, but ideally, I mean ideally this, but I'm gonna give you guys this level. And again, this is the DXY, so I wouldn't be taking a trade on this. But if I was gonna look for bearish dollar continuations, I'd be looking at 100.33. If I'm looking at bullish dollar buys, I'm probably looking at 98.30. There is nothing that interests me between here. There's no trading. No trading between here. Not unless that develops more. Alright, that being said, let's go over gold. Again, like I just told you guys, we are holding buys on this from not only last week, I don't even think it was last week, it might even be the week before last week. From July 10th. Okay, yeah, so that's last week. And then also from the 6th of July. So from 2 weeks. So we are in these. Actually, 1 second, guys. Let me switch to this. All right, so those are the trades that we're in. So again, we're looking at a few different things on gold, right? What interests me the most about gold is whether we. I'm just gonna move this stuff out of the way real quick, right? Because what interests me about gold, and again, I told you guys I was expecting. Okay. I was expecting 1945 to get hit on gold. So when we were originally buying this, our original TPs were in this 1945 range. Again, just expecting some of this inefficient price action to fill from the very efficient price action. Plus, we had a few other confirmations in terms of volume and all that fun stuff. Are reasons why we got in these. At this point, obviously, I don't use set take profits, right? I don't use set take profits. When I'm targeting an area like 1945, I don't like to limit my upside in case things like this happen where you obviously blow right through it, right? There's no reason for me to close at 1945 until there's a reaction or anything like that. And yeah, sometimes we scale some off. In my case, I instead took it off EU, and then I think I scaled out of this more like 1950 something. But yeah, let this kind of blow out. And again, at this point, we're asking ourselves, well, what's happening here, right? Because, you know, we're kind of breaking the structure. I'm going to delete some of this older stuff just so you guys don't get, actually, you know what? This chart doesn't have volume on it. I'll move back over here. I'll clean this up real quick. Let me delete that, delete all this analysis. Obviously, we took that out. Obviously, we bought. Let's just clean this up real quick. Our position can stay because it has to. All right. So for me, again, like at this point, I'm trading away from the efficient price action, and I understand that some people are going to look at this and say there's inefficiencies. I understand that. Right, and I was originally trading towards these inefficiencies. Now we get things like a break of structure. We also see that volume is increasing as we break out. It's hard for me to want to close this quite yet. And again, when I look at like higher time frames, even if I come out to the daily, I just ask myself like, okay, cool, we left this imbalance behind. But there's also still imbalances or areas or fair value gaps or whatever you want to call them that live to the upside, right? Like this level up here at like nearly 2K. So when we start getting breakouts like this, and again, there's a lot of sell volume here, but we went nowhere. So again, for the people that know what that means, you know what that means. If you don't, you're going to find out over the next couple weeks because gold will show you. But like I'm only going to be looking for continuations of something like this. So much like the DXY, as long as we hold above, I mean, for me, annoyingly enough, some of this can open up. But as long as we hold above 1950, and again, we may pierce below this. That's a possibility. When I say hold above, I mean like on 4-hour time frames, just to be clear with you guys. I do expect this to potentially pierce below. But as long as we're above this 1950 on like 4-hour time frames, I'm going to just assume that this range works itself out as reaccumulation. So the most logical thing that I see here is, again, like maybe this moves up tonight. Maybe it does some stuff like this. Who knows? But maybe we grab that 1950. This would be ideal scenario, right? And we move up on the 4-hour and we continue to push above all this previous liquidity, right? Push above these highs, and then into the imbalance. Yeah, I know we're leaving some imbalance behind, but sometimes the market is just ready and you leave it behind. I'm not going to bet on the sell-off. Now, if we do what I want it to do, and we do get this push up, and then it begins to print something different where, like, we can't sustain above, like, 1965, 1963, okay, yeah, then we can open up that idea. But I don't think there's any highs within this range that scream this thing is just going to fall. So that's kind of how I perceive this. So same thing with the DXY. The DXY, I think, has more room to fall right off the beginning of the week. And then same thing with the dollar, expecting those moves up into the 1997 level, and then we go from there. NASDAQ is the last thing I'll analyze, and then I'll let the other boys kind of take over and look at the stuff they want to look at. But NASDAQ, unfortunately, for the last 2 weeks, didn't really give us what we wanted. We were looking again at the idea of it breaking out of these highs. We just kind of wanted it to grab a little bit more liquidity on the internal side. Never did it. So we never really executed off of this because, again, if something doesn't follow my plan, unless it's giving me like a brand new sign to trade, I usually ignore it. And then also when you catch other things like gold and EU, you're not as pressured to trade, I guess. So yeah, I wasn't really looking at this. Again, at this point, there is some interesting stuff happening at the highs here. There are, again, some rejections, some volume stepping into the downside. Do I believe this is going to be high? I don't know. There's some potential. I would like to see some retests up here. But this is a little bit different than things like gold because, again, this is already kind of clearing out, highs. And then even if the more you zoom out, the more you're kind of grabbing. So it's like, again, now we're playing, I think, even above this liquidity. So, again, this gets closer and closer to essentially all-time highs. So it gets more reactive. It doesn't mean that we won't keep breaking out and keep pushing it, but it does mean every time we push a new high, there's that profit-taking mindset or that supply that's been sitting up here for a very long time that maybe either needs to, one, be pushed through, or two, needs to be removed because people's biases change as it gets closer to where maybe they have sell orders. Again, there's a lot of people that think for some reason we're in a bearish market. And at this point, it's becoming harder and harder for those people to really build that case, which also kind of worries me because as more retail people look bullish and they look at the all-time highs, the more that kind of concerns me. But fundamentally, there's no reason to let go. So, I don't know. I want to see what happens up here. I'm not too set on a bias. I will say it's interesting that we kind of push below some of this structure. So, again, I could see us, pushing up into like some of this, and then again finding some of that supply that pushes us lower. I don't know. For me, it's really gonna just be how it responds up here. If we break through this, there's no reason to look at shorts for just any reason. If we begin to react off this and sellers begin to step in because of where we are in the weekly, I would tread carefully. I wouldn't sell. That's just I can't. I personally, me pushing the red button on this would feel like a sin almost. It'd be like me breaking one of my cardinal rules. I don't know. There's just not enough confirmation for me to sell. So to be honest with you guys, if this wasn't a Sunday and we were looking at this and it was like 8:30 in the morning, I probably would have already bought this because I like the push below here. I'm so bullish on this thing. We even cleared out whatever nonsensical low this is. I mean, like, to be honest, again, if it wasn't a Sunday and it wasn't the time that it is, I probably would already be in a market like this. But yeah, I'm just personally, I'm gonna just leave this alone up here. So yeah, those are my thoughts on everything. I do see that we got the rest of the full team on the call. So what's going on, Abel, Kyle, Ray? I don't know who wants to take over. Let me actually just check chat real quick, but y'all can unmute yourselves and say what's up if you guys need to. Just do this real quick as well. Let me pull up.
Yes. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, bro?
Chilling, bro. How are you?
I'm blessed. Can't complain, man. Excited for this up and coming trading week. What's going on, chat? Family in the chat. How you guys feeling today? I don't know about y'all, man, but it's feeling like one of them weeks where where things just go right. If we could have a duplicate of what we just went through this past week, that would be spectacular,
Yeah,
to
it was a
say the
good
least.
week. I think what did we clear? Something like 600. I don't know. I never officially did the math, but it's definitely up above 500.
And that's
Arguably six.
currency pair. That's not indices. That's not nothing crazy. That's currencies
Yeah, and for the record,
and
if we did
gold.
catch anything on indices, I would have said it was points. We wouldn't have used pips to begin with.
That is very true.
Let me see in chat here. Free zone loose says still holding gold buy strong. Maybe it pulls back. Some more positions can be entered. Yeah, I know I said it. I know I said in the premium chat already that there's the potential that gold does pull back to like 1933. And I do think that's a possibility, but the more I looked at like the DXY, like I just don't think, I don't know, again, like I'm not buying this again until we break down below 1933. We probably won't trade it up here. We have no reason to. It's like we have great entries. We've already partialed out. Again, like I said, we're what 366 pips on that position, and let's even just draw from here at 500 pips on that position. So realistically, like we just seeing what the market wants to give us. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you guys are not in those trades, you're not in the live trade room, you know, I definitely feel bad, but it's right there in the description if y'all want to get in there.
I
No
don't know,
wick.
bro. I'm excited for that. I'm excited, bro, because I feel like gold is just gonna set itself beautifully this up and coming week.
Yeah, I mean, if it
I,
could do what I have drawn on the chart, would be. I mean, we could maybe take another stab. I mean, I say that on the Sunday that we're not going to take another position, but you guys know how it is. At some
I know
point, you
know
know,
exactly how it is.
yeah. If the setup is there, I'm not going to not take it. Let me see. We got the retest reaction. Matt says of sin is crazy. Nah, man, that's just really how it is. I feel bad when
Let me see.
I'm hyper bullish on something and I trade it the other way. That's how I know my emotions would be getting to me. Whereas if I'm committed to one direction, but I'm taking
Mm.
stabs the other way, that's how I know I'm like a little emotional. And that's usually when I risk like nothing. But I'll still take it because science, as we call it.
That's a fact.
Solo in the chat, what's good, Solo? Cody, what's going on? Up a bag on gold and holding. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. If you guys if
Let's
you
get
guys are
it.
in the premium and you guys are holding gold, or even if you're just holding gold in general, I guess, let me get a 777 in the chat. Let me know if you guys are still holding that. Or EU. Or Kyle's USG CAD. Even though we're
Yo,
out of those.
how's it looking for news for this week?
Pretty light on the dollar side. I think there was initial jobless claims and yeah, I mean, it was pretty a bunch of soft data, but there's CPI across the board for the rest of the currencies, so like CAD, pound, EU, euro.
The yen,
Yeah.
everything.
I don't know if the yen had inflation. The yen had a holiday.
Yeah, they got national CPI, the core CPI on Thursday.
Okay, it's not the Tokyo one though, right? Let me see. Now I have to check.
Yeah, what do you mean by Tokyo one? It just
Because
says national.
the yen has two CPI data sets. It has like the country of Japan, and then it has a very specific Tokyo one. So it
Oh,
it
okay.
comes out like you'll get it like if the country one is now, like everywhere is now, I think Tokyo is like next week. But there
Yeah, I
yeah
mean
there there is a there is
this
a
is for
difference between
the
them.
yeah, no, this is for the national core consumer price index.
Okay, yeah, no, it's gonna be important. What day is that on? Thursday.
That's Thursday. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
So let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, national core. Okay, yeah, that is gonna be a
Yeah.
good one. It's projected to come out higher too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we know
Interesting.
what we talked about too. No need to start that
Interesting.
up, but we know what we talked about. All right, chat. I don't know who wants to take over screen share, but y'all are free to take that over, and I'll let y'all do your things in terms of charts and pairs.
Hmm.
And again,
I
I
mean,
went
I'm
over
really
I went over DXY, gold, and NASDAQ, but I assume you
What do
guys
you
are gonna
got? What do you got on the DXY this week, bro?
that's a good question.
uh the boys
Well, I
might.
probably should have been there a little earlier.
Yeah. The boys might.
I'll
Hold on,
rewatch
family.
it.
Let's bring it back up for them. So yeah, again, like I don't know, the DXY has cleared a lot of liquidity below like even these lows. So I don't know. Again, we could get a bounce, but basically, I'm only a seller up at like 133. If I am gonna kind of try to resell, which is basically almost a retest to the resistance. I didn't think it was that basic, but I guess it turned out to be that basic. Or I'm a buyer potentially down at like 98.33, but again, depending on how we move down there, I may not trust that. But that's what I have. I'm not really
So
looking to play in the middle
continuations
of this
over
noise.
reversals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even really looking to honestly trade this at all. To be like, it might be a light week for me at just holding. I just expect this to drip, and we'll see what happens. If it bounces, I'll adjust. But yeah, that's what I got. But I would be intrigued to see what you guys got. So whoever wants to take over,
Mm,
feel free to take over.
I got you. Um, let me see.
Also,
Um,
shout out to Cozy, Jerry, Danny, and Lou for all holding the those gold trades. Hold on, Kyle, 1 second. Let me put it on you. You good? Let me get that out of the way.
yeah, so let me clear this out. Bet. So yeah, I mean, overall, I feel like the dollars is heading down for a long time unless like Skag said, we do see something different come into play. I was kind of telling you guys that this did look like redistribution to me. Just like seeing this spike up and not much follow through, and then us retesting that and testing the middle of the range, and now going a lot more to the downside. I wouldn't see any type of buying coming in until this level right here, right? So, I'm not gonna really play any long-term buys until we feel this right here. This is there's really, the market already broke this, right? This candle, which is a sell to buy candle, we already broke that. So, potentially, yeah, we can start buying up from here. But to be honest, like don't let it that bias of waiting for the buy have you miss out on these sells, right? So I'm not gonna miss out on these sells. Like obviously there might not be much room left in the tank, but I'm not gonna let that stop me, right? Because a lot of the times people will be like, yo, the market has been going down, so let me just start buying. And it doesn't have to happen. Like it doesn't, like these type of things don't have to happen, right? We have a cool, like 150 points that we can still capture to the downside, even at the current market price, right? Where 150 points, and that's enough to pass your funded accounts and get you guys in some big payouts. So for now, I'm still going to remain bearish dollar until we achieve this 98.4 level. After we achieve that 98.4 level, then I'll reevaluate. So if you're asking for my bias, I think we might come up into this range right here, possibly like this 1 hour candle. I'm gonna set an alert right here, because I want to follow order flow, and there's not much order flow. Technically, yeah, we could play off of this, but I would have to see New York session open up, and we're like now retesting that for me to want to play that. But to be honest, I would prefer this level up here at the 100.5, right? At 100.5, this 1 hour candle for us to trade down, right? If we can get some type of reaction at this 100.5 level, it's Sunday, so maybe we could spike up Monday or Tuesday, achieve this level, take a trade down to the 98.4 level. That gives us about a 200-point trade, right? Obviously, we're not trading the actual DXY, but we can correlate this to things like EU and GU and USD CAD, and you guys can still squeeze like a 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 1 to 15 out of the market by taking another short idea setup like this until the market decides that it needs to start going along. So in my book, I would continue in the direction that we've been going, and I wouldn't second guess it. I wouldn't be trying to catch the bottom or the falling knife or anything like that until the market has confirmed that to us. So how that would look on things like EU, maybe we can price back down into this range, possibly this 1 hour candle, and we can start trading back up to the upside. Now, so some of you guys are like, man, can I counter trade this? Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was a nice sell setup that was presenting itself on Friday. If you were like playing this candle on a 5-minute or something like that, like, like look at that, like, these candles play out quite nicely, right? There was a 5-minute, buy to sell candle, and there was also an inefficiency left right over here. The market played that very nicely, and I do believe that we will continue off of that. I do believe that this sell entry on Friday can go for about like one more day, 1 or 2 more days, maybe like today, Monday, and Tuesday. We can continue the downside trading, which equals to us continuing along on the dollar. Hence why I'm not really taking an entry over here. I'd rather take the entry up in this range, because I do feel like this sell entry on the Euro USD will pan out for like another day or so, and then once we achieve this 111.4 level, then this 111.40, right? 111.40. At around 111.40, I'll be looking to continue taking your USD buys, and your risk to reward would look something like this. Let's say you're taking this trade, playing the 1 hour candle, and your stop loss is right below that candle, right? We can look at a potential 1 to 8 risk to reward, right? This is a potential 1 to 8, 1 to 10 risk to reward trade idea. And this is the power of continuations over reversals, because you can be trying to guess the top all day long, and you might be taking loss and loss and loss after loss, but these continuations will play out unless order flow and structure and just the market cycle tells us otherwise. Unless we start distributing, then I'll start looking on sell side for EU. But this is not clear distribution. We need to see a spike up and then start distributing to the downside. Same with the dollar, right? In my opinion, I think this thing still has room to go down, unless we spike down, like Skag said, and starts accumulating. When we start accumulating, then yeah, it's a different story. We can switch our biases, but we have not started accumulating, and this is not accumulation. This is not that. We still have room to go to the downside. Same with EU. We have not spiked up and created a spring and started distributing yet. So if we just broke out of accumulation, we had an accumulation range down here. If we just broke out of accumulation, this thing is going to continue up for a long time unless it starts distributing. So these sells right here, yes, I do believe they'll pan out, but very short term, right? Very short term. I do feel like once we hit down here, it'll continue up again, unless distributed the right way. And how that would look on things like GU, right? I'll probably play this 4 hour candle right here, which pretty much is equivalent to this 1 hour candle. So maybe we can continue down for a day or so and then get that type of trading that we're looking for off of this level. And you see how GU is to the highs is already 1 to 10. And look at this. These are suspect equal highs. Very, very equal highs. So that right there could just show you right away that this is not the top of GBP USD, right? It could be for a short period of time, right? You might think it's the top. It might trade down a little bit more, like I said, maybe for like another 90 pips, which is good. Some people might catch 90 pips and they might be great and gravy. Even me, myself, 90 pips is a lot. But is the risk to reward there? That's the thing. You may know, yeah, GBP USD is going to drop for the next 90 pips, which is pretty obvious. But is the risk to reward on that setup there for you? Or I was reading something today that, it's a quote unquote, just like this, right? I think this was on like Instagram threads. That's where I found. No, this is on Twitter. We are on Instagram threads and on Twitter, by the way. So, if any of you guys want to connect with us on there, our handles are the same as our Instagram. So if you follow us on Instagram, just follow us on threads and on Twitter as well. But I was reading something and it said, once you have reached this point in your trading, you know you have leveled up to another playing field. When you can sit there and see a setup that looks very good, you understand why it is likely to go up or down and be okay with not trading it. This will go over 99% of traders' heads because not many will understand, because it's something you learn later in this game. Why would you pass on something that looks good if it makes sense? Like, a lot of you guys are asking, why would you pass up on something like that? Even if it makes good, even if it makes sense, even if it looks good. And it's because there's so much power in seeing a good looking setup or a good looking play and just saying no, right? Because this is good looking, right? The sell is good looking, but is the risk to reward there? Is the timing there? Like, am I going to gain a proper amount of percentage compared to what I'm risking, right? You might have to risk a large amount to make a minuscule or even regular size amount. You know, I'm the type of trader, I like to risk very, very small and win very, very big. So I personally will be staying out of the shorts unless something presents itself. And I'll let you guys know in the live trade room. Our live trade room has been absolutely killing it, guys. I mean, I don't even want to toot our own horn. I don't want to, like, you know, be this, like, honestly, I'm at the point now where I feel like I don't even have to talk about it on these streams, because just talking about it and advertising it is like a disservice. Because if you're not in the live trade room, if you're not in trading with us every single morning already, you're already missing out on a lot of money. You're already missing out, and it would just devalue it. I don't even want to mention it, because at the end of the day, if you're not in, you're just missing out. You don't deserve to be in. You don't deserve to be in if you're not in and you're not at least curious, or, you know, at least asking us questions, or at least asking our students questions about, hey, how's the live trade room? What are the trades you guys been catching? If you're the type of person that, you know, the live trade room is a thing and you're not in it already, you probably don't even deserve to be in it, because it's so powerful that we don't even have to speak about it. So, you know, I'll update you guys again in the live trade room when I do decide to take a setup. But, you know, at the end of the day, last week, like, our setups were absolutely lit. Like, Skags called out this Euro USD buy from down here. Like, and you know what's crazy? Like, we caught a favorable amount of risk. No, it was from down here. It was from down here. Sorry. Even lower, right? It was a great amount of risk. I don't know exactly what his stop loss was, but, you know, it's floating 250 pips right now for like a 1 to 10, 1 to 15, right? USD CAD last week, this was the trade I called out, and we actually took profit down here at these lows. I told you guys I was closing out and everything. Like, this thing ran for a 1 to 21. My stop loss was like 8 pips, right? So we caught a 1 to 20 last week alone. Like, come on, 1 to 20 just on one trade, 1 to 10, 1 to 15, maybe even 1 to 20 on this trade. That's like 30-40% that you could have gained on your accounts in 1 week. And that's risk, and that's 2 setups. We're not over trading, we're not over leveraging. Like, in order for a lot of people to make 30-40%, they've got to over trade, take hundreds of trades, they got to over leverage, they got to put a lot of risk on their accounts, they can't sleep at nights. Like, like, it's just simple, profitable trading here in our live trade room. So, you know, with that being said, you know, to be honest, I am looking for a re-entry on USD CAD. I don't know though. I'm gonna have to, like, wait patiently, because, you know, at the end of the day, I do believe this thing is gonna continue to go down, but maybe we, you know, it's kind of tough because I did enter off of there before. But, you know, possibly we sweep some liquidity and literally get an entry again, like at the same price that I entered before. Or maybe not. Like, you know, maybe not. Honestly, what can really happen is, we can sweep. Let me delete this. You know, I'd rather it sweep liquidity like this, and we can enter off of something like this and then go down. But, you know, what possibly could happen is we might just sweep all of this, and this might be the entry. So I'm giving you guys 2 possible scenarios here. You know, I am still bearish on USD CAD. Unless something changes, of course. All right, like let's say, let's say like we dip down, like whichever level gets hit first, to be honest. That's like that's my type of thing. Like, even though I'm very bearish on USD CAD, let's say we start off the week by dipping down into this range and we mitigate off of this candle right here. I'm not opposed to taking a long entry on this because I know it can retrace. I know that there's imbalance left behind. And I know that, if we get down into this range, then, possibly that could be a possible counter trend type of scenario that we can take to buy this thing up to later on sell it down. So we can catch that retracement on this pair. Because this pair does like to make large retracements. That's one of the things I noticed. Like, even though we were overall bearish on USD CAD for a long time, you guys see what happened down here where, we spiked down, we created like a spring. Once we break lows and highs on USD CAD, it reacts violently off of lows and highs. That's why I like this pair, because once we break highs, as you guys can see, like it reacts very sharply off of that. Even if it's not in the proper direction, like it reacts very well. So, I do believe that we can possibly retrace, maybe not as high as we did before. You see how we retraced it, and then we spiked up, and then we made the big sell-off. So, possibly we can get some of the same type of action where we might spike down a little bit, catch a little counter trend trade to buy this thing up. And then once we get higher, then we start selling this thing down. So, overall, my bias is locked in stone for bearish USD CAD. It's just all about how we're going to get there. It's not going to move exactly like the dollar pairs EU and GU, but we take this thing by the day, right? We really do take this thing by the day. That's how I look at USD CAD. But yeah, same for gold too, right? We're overall bullish, but there's 1,001 scenarios about how we can get there, right? We could spike below and then just continue up, or we can decide to fill all the imbalance and then potentially go up. So we will take attempts tentatively, but at the end of the day, I'm actually a little bit more on the side that we fill the entire imbalance, the 1936, right? But, again, we just broke out of this accumulation range. So, reaccum does make sense as well. Both ideas make sense, whether it dips very, very shallow or it dips a lot. We're still looking at the same bias, right? Same with USD CAD. We're still looking bearish. It's just all about how much does this thing want to retrace. We are indeed in a retracement phase right now. So personally, if it just keeps running, then I would just wait for the short up here. But if not, then I will take a counter trend trade on something like USD CAD, especially since it's so low risk. On EU, GU, not as much, because these things are already starting to trade down. These things we already, I need to see something else before doing so. But with that being said, that's like my overall bias here on the dollar, right? Just continuations, right? Keep playing the continuations. Stop looking for the bottoms and the tops of the market, because majority of the times you won't get them. And sometimes you will get them, but like, don't let it boost your ego and confidence of like, oh, like, I can catch the bottom and top every single time. It doesn't work like that. So let me check the chat. For NAS 100, called it at 109.8. Trinidad and Tobago, sheesh. All right, drop the chart for NAS 100. I'm gonna check it out. Called it at 109.8. What, USD CAD? Oh, talking about something else. You're talking about, I don't know what you're talking about. 109.8. It's got to be EU. Yeah, he called it at 109.8. You're right. He's talking about EU. Yeah, this is where we caught the EU buys. Like, imagine if you could trade live with traders like us that are actually calling the signal out on a live stream. We're telling you guys, like, it's time to buy, it's time to sell. Like, you know, that type of stuff. On my Instagram, I posted a recording of me live telling you guys to sell USD CAD. It's on my Instagram at Kyle Hustles. Right? Go to my Instagram. Actually, go to the Profit Society Instagram too. It's on there. ProfitSociety.co. Go to ProfitSociety.co Instagram. You'll see the recording of me calling it from here. And I'm sure Skaggs is gonna drop some type of recording soon for his Euro USD trade. So we can properly do that. But with that being said, honestly, let's be patient. Let's wait on these things to really set up. I mean, I like coming on here on Sundays to give you guys like an outlook of what I think the market, like you're seeing right now, like EU is breaking this candle, and now we're gonna test up into here, and then we can start shorting off. Like I like coming on here and letting you guys know my opinions on stuff, because I know you guys will take it and utilize it for your trades throughout this entire week, because I'm gonna be doing the same. But at the end of the day, there's not really much I can execute off in this current position or in this current moment. These are I only trade about 2-3 pairs. So, if they're not in action, then, I'm going to give you guys a future setup that we are going to take throughout the week. And, I hope that all of you guys that are on here, at least on the free channel, just watching on YouTube, you guys are like at least studying what it is I'm telling you, and at least marking these levels on your charts and setting alerts and setting highlights and highlighting these regions that I'm looking at, because majority of the times these areas and these analyses that we're looking at, they end up playing out. I'm not saying every single time that they'll play out, but majority of the times they play out. So if you're on here just watching for free, like, you might as well mark the stuff that we have on the chart. You might as well mark the levels, mark some alerts, keep an eye out on some things, and see how they react. Just even if you enter, like, just know I'm probably in it with you. But even if you don't enter, just see how they react. Just see how the market plays out when it comes to times of when we're taking things like these, because this is what I look at. But yeah, Free Zone Lou is talking about NAS 100 looking at 30-minute. Can y'all see if price bouncing off at 1550 and go to the upside? Now, me personally, I don't trade NAS 100. I'll check it out. I don't know if any of the other boys want to give their opinion on that. But I think I'm the only one in the group that doesn't trade in indices. I might start doing it soon. I might start messing with them soon. But I don't know. Everything has just been going pretty good the way I've been trading. So I'm not, I'm not like in a crunch to change anything. But I'm definitely watching them. Like, every single time we talk about them or one of y'all mention it, especially Free Zone Lou. Whenever Free Zone Lou comes on here and mentions NAS 100, I always end up panning over to it and taking a look. So shout out to you, bro. Shout out to Free Zone. He definitely always gets me in my indices bag. And what's crazy? I called out, like, this is the stuff that gets me a little tight, because I don't trade this pair, but sometimes, especially like Free Zone Lou, man. Shout out to you, bro. You always bring up the indices, and you always tempt me into at least pulling up the chart. And I think one time on a session, I gave out this like, I think it was last week. I'm gonna check the Sunday recording last week. One of y'all let me know. Yep, it was Sunday, bro. It was Sunday. Literally last Sunday, I was like, yo, keep an eye on this level here for NAS 100. Even though I don't trade it, or I don't even have it on my watch list, it reacted so nice off of that. So if I were to give you guys a level, a magic zone, a magic rectangle, like what y'all like to see, I don't know. I'll probably do something like this. Like, literally that. One of those two, right? Let me probably something like that. I actually would prefer this one. Obviously, the market doesn't care what I think, but I prefer this one. Like we start doing that, but I'm not. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm not an indices type of guy. So a lot of you guys might be seeing this bearish outlook that I got, and you might be like, "Yo, you're wild, you're crazy, bro." So that's why I'm not really trying to enforce or force any of my bias onto you guys. But if you ask me, man, like, I'm the type of guy to watch this thing sink.
You know what's crazy, Kyle?
What's up?
We're actually not that far away from me winning the bet, by the way. So do you need my Cash App now or later?
No, bro, the bet is still in play.
We're so close.
We're not so close, bro. We're like 3,000 points away. I don't.
What? I said the 16K.
You said that we were going highs for highs, bro. We were doing.
What?
I'll pull up the recording. I don't want to hear it. We didn't even set up. We said highs for lows. That's what we said. Free zone Free zone is in the chat and he will confirm, bro. I'm not.
He'll confirm that was never the play. The play was me saying 16K and you said under
No,
10K.
no, we said highs for lows. Even Skaggs was there too. I'm not going back and forth, bro. You're a cheater when it comes to these bets, bro.
Cheater.
I don't care if you win fair and square. But nah, bro, we said highs for lows. We said highs for lows.
All right, that's fine. So I gotta pass 16,777. All right, bet.
Yeah.
I mean there's 1,000% more of a chance that hits than what you were trying to say. So either way, I'm good.
Yeah, you're good, bro. I don't know why you trying to change it.
He said you a cheater, right, Nico? He's crazy. He said you a cheater.
Bro, free zone will confirm.
Yo,
too,
that
bro.
just sounds like you've been taking a lot of L's to these bets, bro.
I'm not even trying to like back out or nothing. I'm just trying to like reinstate like what the original conditions were, bro. Like even free zone will say it, bro. Free zone, you're not even backing me up right now. That's crazy,
bro. Because he doesn't know you saying that, bro.
Kyle, you bet him 10K over. You bet him that price will hit 10K over 16.
Yeah.
That boy, wow.
You know what's crazy? Y'all call me wild. They called everybody wild. They called everybody wild before they went crazy.
Bro, 10K is wild, bro.
It's always a crazy idea until it works.
Oh, this is indices, not currencies, though.
That's true.
Indices trade very different than currencies.
Bro, just look at the chart, Kyle. Like, literally just zoom out, bro.
I'm very zoomed out.
Exactly. You can go as far back as you can on that chart.
Why?
And where do you?
Why is Kyle still trying to advocate for this, bro?
I mean, he kind of has no choice now that he got the bet in place. He don't want to look crazy.
Kyle, man, every Sunday we go over this, and every Sunday we keep telling you why you're wrong.
I mean, bro, listen. You send me. 75% of the bet. We can call it even right now.
Oh, Abel loves to tempt people with this, though.
That's what I'm saying. He's a cheater, bro.
No, he's not a cheater. How's he a cheater?
Cheating. Bro,
no. Why? Because you took a bad bet.
He's a professional cheater too.
No, that's not. I don't. Well, hold on. How's he cheating?
He said I'm a professional cheater. Hey, man, bro, how did I cheat? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cheated. I mean, Kyle, I told you the low in NASDAQ was in.
Hey, right, Skaggs, we said highs for lows, right?
No.
It was 16K, bro. Think
about it. It wasn't high because I specifically remember asking you why you didn't do that because I remember the risk to reward was way off. I was like,
that's
Kyle,
fine. That's fine. Y'all don't believe me? I'll bring.
It don't even matter, bro. Let me tell you something.
I don't even want to talk. We'll bring up the recording.
But okay, listen. Even if you find the recording, I'm telling you right now, there's no world in which you win this bet. It don't matter. Like you can like
That's
Abel
fine. That's
Abel
fine. I
could
just want to make sure my conditions are
Bro,
fair.
you can have whatever
no,
conditions
your
you want,
conditions
bro.
weren't fair.
In fact,
And
Kyle,
that's why I couldn't believe you even made the bet. But
Well,
anyway,
if there's another pandemic within the next week or two, he might have a chance to win.
That's what I'm saying. There's gonna be
okay,
one.
but yeah, that's
There's
like
gonna-
that's like saying yeah, I can go win the mega million. Like you're just betting on something that's
hey man,
unforeseen.
listen, Kyle,
Bro,
bro.
I heard
we
Bill
could-
Gates
we
in
could
the
double
stew
down,
cooking
bro.
up right now. You don't know.
Bill Gates
let,
always
let my trade rock, bro.
Listen, Kyle, bro, we could double down if you want, bro. I'll even give you better odds. What's up?
Bro, I want
I
the
give you a
original
3-1
condition.
RR, bro.
I want the
I mean, you
original condition.
listen. You
Stop
can have.
changing
Listen,
it.
family,
You
for
can have
everybody,
the original
hold on.
conditions, but
Y'all
that's
be
fine.
quiet real quick. There's no reason for y'all to do this. Listen, for anybody watching, always know the better bets in the market. Just
Better
play
bets
bet
than
bet
Abel.
don't bet other people. Just bet the market. Just play the market.
That's
Kyle,
what I'm
you
saying,
can,
bro. That's
Kyle,
like-
you can have your regular
Take that
conditions,
$100
though, bro.
you thought you were gonna bet.
Just
Go
so you
buy
know,
go
Kyle.
buy some stock in something and stop.
That's fine. Highs and lows. Highs and lows, Kyle.
he said it. He said it.
Listen, I'm not gonna argue because either way, there's
It
no way
don't
we're gonna
matter.
hit
Yeah,
yours.
you're gonna
It
lose
really
either
doesn't.
way. It don't matter.
If that makes you happier, bro, and more willing to pay me, that's all that matters. We
And
can
Bill
take that.
Gates, we
I'm more
trust.
willing to.
Let's go,
Listen,
Kyle.
y'all just out of your minds.
Let's go, Kyle. Let's eat, man. And Bill Gates, we trust. He about to drop that new virus. The market gonna tank.
I heard U.S. Army troops gonna have to start going
Listen,
back to.
bro, whatever it takes for you to be more willing to pay me, bro, you believe whatever you want to believe in, bro. I'll support you in that.
Thank you.
He said thank you. Yo,
Man.
Kyle, you're
I've
hilarious,
heard the
bro.
same story from like 12K, and here we are at like 15.
That's
So,
that's what I'm saying, Kyle. I don't think you
don't
remember
like-
though, bro. But we
But
made
let
this
it
bet,
let
bro.
it be known too, though, that I got a lot of pushback from Abel as well. Abel just smart enough to realize when the trend's the trend.
Oh yeah, listen, I know how to, I know how to reset to me. I know,
let's not
I know how to make adjustments.
People are more recently bullish than they may make it seem.
But Kyle, you gotta think about it, bro. We've had this bet for like a month, if not longer. When Nas was in probably like the 12, 13,000 range, which is why I said 16 and you said 10 because we were like 3,000 to 4,000 away on each side. Just for clarification. But besides that, though, man, what do we think is gonna happen for Nas this week?
More
Because
up,
I
baby.
am.
More up, baby. I mean,
That's
I want
what
to
I'm
see what
saying.
I would like to see just retests to the upside. I mean,
Yeah.
again, like what Kyle has drawn was like kind of my same idea. Like maybe not. Again, he's like he's projecting way further out. I just care about what their reaction is up there. I could care less about the aftermath.
Yeah, I'm looking for the shorts too. We shorten the 10K.
You want to put money on it?
Good luck.
How
I'm
much?
good
How
on
much?
that.
How much we talking?
I'm good on that actually, but
Yeah, like Ray, take mine. Just bet with the market, bro.
How much
The
we
market's
talking?
the only one you gotta put money behind.
Oh, let's say. Listen, I'm gonna take every easy bet out there, man. If you get hustled, it ain't my fault.
I almost said something wild, but I don't want to get us canceled off
No,
the.
y'all just need to chill with the betting. Trade the markets. Y'all are degenerates, bro.
Bro, listen,
I mean,
man.
even the bet that I made with Abel, I traded against it, so I made more from losing the $100 against Abel than I did.
Hey, man.
Can
Well,
I pull up this GA real quick?
please, bro, please.
Did
But
you
hey,
wait?
man.
Ray, did you go over anything yet, or has Kyle just been in control
Not
since
yet.
I've been gone?
Nah, just Kyle been in control.
You know
Hey,
how, you know how
man.
Kyle be.
Kyle take a minute to go through his charts, huh?
You know,
Hey,
you know how Kyle
man.
What are we looking at here, though?
he got better. I
Hey,
remember
man.
last summer he was. Oh man, let me quit messing with Kyle. But look, I think I can get some shorts off GA this week. Obviously, this is the weekly. And I'm not the biggest fundamental guy, but just from what I see anyway, obviously Bank of England has higher inflation. However, this week, Australian dollar has a lot more high volatility news, and their inflation isn't necessarily low either. So I do think we can at least get some reactions to to push the market down a bit. Not necessarily saying we're going to switch trend completely because there's a lot of bullishness just overall, but I do believe we can get some bearishness on GA. That's on the weekly chart. We did clear a set of weak highs. And then just for the past few weeks, we have been playing in this little area of imbalance and haven't been able to maintain higher prices. So just with that being said, now I come down to the 4-hour. I see we obviously come into that area imbalance and then we reject pretty hard. A lot of seller volume or momentum, I should say, coming into the market. So essentially just what I see happening here is the potential for us to reach up into this area inefficient price. And I would like to see how the market reacts. I don't want to just take the first jab I see, just because it's a fairly large point of interest. We're talking about 50 pips or so. So I would like to, see how the market reacts. And then from there, potentially, take a lower high opportunity right here, something like that, and go ahead and take the market down, at least targeting these lows here. All right. So that is something that I see happening. And again, it's just because there's a lot more volatile news on Australian dollar. Although GBP has higher inflation, Australian dollar inflation is pretty high as well. So I feel like just with the news coming out, considering that things probably aren't going to change, we should probably see some Australian dollar strength come into the market, at least for the next few days, maybe the course of this week. It eventually I feel like Great British Pound will probably take back over, and we'll continue higher overall. But again, just for this week, this is essentially what it is that I'm going for, and that's that. Right, I can come down a little lower and somewhat refine this zone a little bit. Maybe I can start cherry picking these zones and start refining them down a little bit, just to help me with risk to reward purposes, but just for the sake of where we are in price right now. And I'm not 100% certain whether it's just going to tap into it barely, whether it's going to fill in a little more. So that's why I have a larger area marked up right now. All right, so that's GBP AUD. Pretty simple setup. This will probably, I don't know if this will happen tonight or not, but who knows? This could probably maybe happen tonight. Just depends on how much the market wants to actually push up. If we consolidate a little more, hopefully it can last out until we get down here a bit. Because essentially I don't want this retracement to happen too fast. So the longer it takes to get up to this area, in my opinion, that'll be the better, just because it'll make this price action a little more corrective, in my opinion. Like the more corrective this price action is, the better. So I'm fully open to the fact that the market can possibly come down, do a bunch of more stuff. The longer it takes, the more liquidity that's going to be built. That makes me feel a little bit better about the sale potentially happening. So yeah, I want this thing to stall out a bit. But if it does happen, sooner rather than later, it's all good. All right. Would you consider any of those highs above your POI strong? Well, the thing is, when it comes to strong highs, the thing about it is I'm looking for this sell to be temporary, right? So the fact that this isn't the strongest high I've ever seen, don't get me wrong, it has a few tendencies of a strong high, like this sweep that we push up here, then we come here, then we sweep a little bit right there also, where you see you have this. I'll come down to a lower time frame so y'all can see a little better. So here you have a little bit of liquidity that built up, then you swept it here and then push back down. So for me personally, it's not the strongest high I ever seen, but considering that I do believe that this price or these highs will be recaptured sometime in the future, they don't have to be that strong. They just have to be strong enough to create the retracement, right? So they're not going to necessarily be, a high that holds forever, or a high that holds for a significant period of time. But I just need a high that's just strong enough to give me some bearishness until I find a higher low point that I can buy and go attack those highs again. So that's pretty much my analysis on GA. All right. Let's take a couple looks at some other pairs. GR, pretty similar. It just doesn't look as appetizing in my opinion, but GN and GI, they move very similar. I don't really trade GBP Chief. Let's take a look at GU. Okay, I missed that entry, so never mind. It'll probably, in my opinion, it'll probably continue, but this is not a good entry in my opinion. So I would not take it if I was y'all. You could probably, you could probably get like a 1 to 4, but it's just, I missed my entry, so I'm not really interested in it. But I do feel that we'll go ahead and grab those lows, push a little bit down into this region here. From here, we can just watch to see what potentially happens, right? We'll probably go clear that low. And from here, there's a possibility that we get some type of activity just off the strength of us clearing lows, making new highs. So that's why I feel like there's still some bearishness left in this particular move. I was going for this, but I guess the entry hit. I went to go get some DoorDash from the front of my building, and that's when the entry hit. So yeah, I missed out on that. Like a short little scalp opportunity. I don't know if you really consider this a scalp, but I was kind of going for this move here. But since I kind of missed that move, essentially the next opportunity that I'm gonna be paying attention to will be down here. Now I'm a trade it lightly because I personally don't like buying this high into movement. After the market has moved a certain amount of pips, I like to try to tend to stay out of buys, right? But I will be honest, like the market has been given nothing but shallow retracements lately. The market isn't necessarily pulling back all the way to, these lower points of interest. It just kind of comes back, takes off, a little shallow retracement, takes off, no retracement at all, takes off. So it's like, it's a lot of momentum in the markets at this moment. So where I could see the potential for us having that continuation play out. But then the other thing is, after so many continuations, the later you recognize it, the worse, in my opinion. So it's not like I want to, the more it happens, the less I want to trade it, because you want to kind of be early to these types of scenarios. But that is a possibility. Outside of that, I don't really see a reason for me to sell. I do like to look at both sides of the market to kind of, weigh the pros and cons to see which side makes more sense. So I look for buy scenarios. I also look for some sell scenarios, and I don't really see a scenario in which I can sell. Again, this was my sell, but as I just explained, I did miss that opportunity. And it looks like it's about to be a banger, so that kind of sucks. I like taking these lower time frame trades because if I can get like a 1 to 5 in a matter of an hour or two, like that's beautiful. And that's why I like trading on the lower time frames. But it is what it is. That's the other thing about trading on the lower time frames. You got to just be paying way more attention. You know, you can't get too distracted. But outside of that, look for some potential buys around 1.3056, or excuse me, 1.306. My bad. 1.306 and below. I'll at least be watching the reaction. Considering that the market has been, since this is such a shallow reaction on the lower time frame, I will more than likely play the base entry. And for me, you know, you have risk entries and you have base entries. The main difference is the risk entry for me is when the market is trending down and I predict, you know, this move right here, then the market starts to trend back up, right? So that's a risk entry. It's called a risk because there's technically no confirmation in the bullish direction yet. You're trying to anticipate the peak low versus waiting for it to prove itself. So then you have, you know, your base entry where the market will sweep a low, then it'll actually break structure first. And then you can kind of get in here, right? Now, one of the benefits of waiting is you can adjust your stop loss to this trading range here versus, you know, the entire trading range here, right? So for me, I want to wait for this pattern to form because it will allow me to have like a tighter stop, especially considering that the market has already been trending up for a while. I want to keep my stop as tight as I can because I do obviously understand that there's a possibility that that move doesn't play out the way I want it to. So essentially, I'm gonna wait for something like this. And then once that happens, again, I can set my stop loss accordingly. And then I can have like a much tighter stop. So now I go from like a 1 to 4 to a 1 to 10, 1 to 11, 1 to 12, just depending on how it forms, all right? So that's that. So that's what I see happening for GU, guys. Remember, 1.306 and below, we'll start watching a point of interest in that area there, all right? Let me check out the chat real quick. On Nas. Pretty much the same as the fellas, man. I'm not in no position to buy, you know, and I mean the sell appears to make a little more sense in my opinion. And you know, pretty simple setup here, right? Market retraces back up here. We do have this little wick here that we can use as a little liquidity gets cleared out. So the good thing about this particular setup is that you do have some highs within the range that can fuel the move, right? So, you know me, like I'm not, you know, and I'm not saying that it can't work, but I'm not the biggest fan of just taking a trade that just, you know, breaks structure and comes back. Because a lot of times you don't know if the market really, you know, broke structure, if it just made a lower low, right? It could just made a lower low. And then the market is just going to continue to trend down. So for me, I like to see, you know, liquidity form, and then I'll, you know, take an opportunity. Or same vice versa on the sell side. So the fact that we got some, you know, some liquidity here, it makes me feel a little better about the sell than if it was just nothing but imbalance, right? Like I want to see imbalance, but I also want to see a little bit of liquidity, all right? So that's that. So I do see the market probably pushing up here and then dropping again, all right? So once that happens, I can use my lower time frame structure points. As long as I get like a 1 to 5, I'm satisfied with the trade. I need at least a 1 to 5. The 1 to 20s are great. 1 to 10, 1 to 15 is great. But as long as I get at least a 1 to 5, it's worth it in my opinion. All right. So that's what I would see playing out right there. I also got a hezzy in the structure as well. So that's another thing that I like to look for that makes me very comfortable taking the trade. So yeah, that's what I would be looking for this week personally. You know, once it gets down to these lower area like this, you gotta watch. Because one thing I noticed just about trading Nas lately is it don't care as much about like having the prettiest buy to sell candle to react off of. Like a lot of times when I'm trading currencies, I probably wouldn't buy out of a low like this. But when it comes to indices, the main thing that I see wants to be respected is, did the low sweep anything? Yes or no? And did that low make a new high? Yes or no? And if you can answer yes to those two questions, a lot of times these point of interest will hold up. And that was one of my biggest things I had to learn going from currencies to indices was, you know, indices don't necessarily require as much, in my opinion, because, you know, the market is semi-bullish all the time, you know, like it doesn't consolidate as much as currencies where both sides of the market has, you know, nearly equal say so. The market's very bullish a lot of the time. And you know, so just with that being said, then that doesn't necessarily need as much, you know, to take a particular direction. And I kind of had to simplify it, you know, where I would be very specific on the candles that I would trade from in current currencies. I just get more specific on the highs and lows, more so than the way the candle actually looks. So I look at more, did it sweep liquidity more so than, you know, is this a big bullish engulfing candle? You know, because I've seen indices respect certain areas that didn't have the prettiest candle that I ever seen. So that's that. Sell to buy opportunity. Potentially, we could buy again. All right, that's not set in stone. I would take the sell 100%. The buy, we gotta see how it's looking when it get there, right? But the sell, I would definitely take the sell. All right. I'll let Abel look at SPX if he wants. I'll just stick to Nas. So for me this week, pretty much it's gonna be Nas, GBP, AUD. Really ain't seen much of anything else that really stuck out to me personally. But yeah, those are the pairs that I'm gonna be pretty much paying attention to for this week. All right. So, you know, I could speculate on a couple of these other pairs, but I'm just trying to keep it real simple. One thing I realized is that you could legit trade a few pairs and make more than enough, right? But the more you start to trade, the more you kind of convolute everything and overcomplicate certain things. So for me, you know, obviously I got all these pairs on my chart, but I'm gonna do my best to just not pay too much attention to all of them. I don't want you to pay attention to Nas, GU, GA. That's what I'm looking at this week. Let me check the chat. Any questions, guys? Everybody good? Everybody good? Like I said, that's all I got for the week. I'm not gonna draw this out too much longer. I know Abel ain't shared his screen yet. I can give him a chance to speak.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I mean, I don't really got too much more neither, besides what the team has already pretty much spoke about. The only thing that I'm probably gonna be focused on this up and coming week is definitely gonna be gold is definitely gonna be one of my favorite setups. Just looking for these continuations as well would be absolutely phenomenal. You know, so that's probably one of the main things that I'm gonna be focused on a lot this week is definitely seeing if I get some entries here for gold, right? I'm really liking the 1945 area, right? If we could spike into that level, then that would be an interesting level for me to watch and pay attention to overall. Right. But yeah, you know, besides that though, that's definitely gonna be one of my favorites. I'm gonna keep my eye on UJ. I think UJ is also setting up very interestingly as well. Although the yen's seen a very aggressive sell-off over the past week or so, I still am leaning towards bullishness for these bad boys, right? So I do want to see continuations here. You know, just looking at UJ here from the daily times frame, right? You know, we ended up falling right into a nice level of structure here, right? Super strong level of structure. And I think this can be an area that ultimately does hold and at least starts to correct a lot of this imbalance that was left behind, if anything, right? At the very least, right? If we don't actually go ahead and continue trend, which is what I think is going to happen, I still think we can at least catch a nice little, you know, move back to the upside, even if it ends up being a correction or not. Other than that, I'm definitely gonna keep my eye around this level, right? I'm gonna be a buyer of UJ at these levels down here. You know, so depending on how we actually open up in the morning, you know, we'll see what opportunities present themselves overall. But yeah, you know, I'm definitely looking for some longs here on UJ overall. So I'm excited for that. You know, we'll see what happens overall. But yeah, you know, those are gonna be my plays. Gold, USD, JPY is gonna be my focus. And I'm low key looking for long-term bullishness on both of them. Right. So we'll see how that actually ends up playing out overall. Let's see what you guys talking about. I had a couple questions. Yeah, what's up, 20 Pip? No yen pairs. What are the yen pairs you want, Jude? What's going on, my brother? Appreciate you. Right. So that's what I'm looking for you, Jay. I would be a big fan to look at something like this. All right. I would be a big fan of something like this. This would be amazing. Right. Maybe if we can get down to that 137, 800 level, right down into there, we end up finding some demand. That's a possibility, right? Or we can just be on the wrong side of it and get completely stopped out. You know, but just based on where we're at in terms of price, in terms of structure, especially looking at it from the daily time frame, daily perspective, I think this could be an area that we do see some demand pick up, right? We do see some buyers, you know, come into control and at least give us a couple more legs to the upside, right? At the very least. Right. So this is an interesting level here for you, J family. So I'm looking bulls. I'm gonna be bullish personally on this. We'll have to see how the market plays out. You know, obviously we could look for anything below the 138s, 138.15 is a possibility where we could start to see some longs, but I would prefer, you know, the 137.8 level for us to clear that level out and then see if we can go ahead and go long. That will be pretty lit overall, you know, and if it doesn't work out, then so be it. It doesn't work out. It is what it is. All right, let's see. I'm looking at that same level for you, Jay. Yeah, I think it looks very interesting. All right, I'm gonna keep my eye on it for sure, especially going into tonight, because that's probably gonna get hit tonight. I just hope that it stays somewhere, because again, I don't wake up for London session, right? So as soon as we get off this stream, I'll probably be going to sleep soon, and I won't see it until the morning time, right? So hopefully by the morning time when I wake up for New York session, you know, we actually sell off here, and then we can get a nice little rally. That would be phenomenal if it could do that, but obviously we don't know. But let's see. What are you guys usually doing when the markets are streaming and your pairs are getting away from you? When the market is trending and the pairs are getting away? That's a good question. I mean, it really does depend on your style of trading, right? If you're an intraday slash scalper, then I mean, every single day you can have an opportunity to go ahead and jump into that trend, right? Go ahead and jump into the, you know, the momentum that the market is moving in. Right? Because again, every day the market isn't just shooting up. You know, there are periods of even smaller corrections, whether they're on the 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour. right? If you identify a super long trend that you identified on a higher time frame, then every single day is just a new opportunity for you to go ahead and find an entry to align with the overall bias. All right. So you just got to be patient. Just be patient and wait for that pullback. As simple as it may sound, or as cliche as it may sound, that's just a fact. All right. If you figured out the long-term bias of a pair, then go to them smaller time frames, 15-minute, 5-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, and wait for those pullbacks, and then go ahead and find yourself a nice entry and see if it aligns, right? But that's pretty much what it is. Definitely don't get no FOMO and just try to rush into a position because you feel it's going one way or another. No, right? There's always going to be a pullback. Almost every day you'll experience some sort of pullback. You just gotta find the right opportunity to go ahead and get involved. That's really what it comes down to. Right. But yeah, so family, UJ looks interesting. It's definitely gonna be one of my favorites for this week. Gold as well. I'm a big fan of gold around the 1945s level. We'll see how that plays out. For GJ is also very interesting. It's in a similar boat for me personally. I would like to see this thing go ahead and continue personally to the upside. So just looking at where we're at now, we're testing a very interesting level of previous structure. We do have some imbalance right below it. So I don't know. I think right where we're at right now could be an area where this goes up, or there could be, and this is probably what I'm leaning towards, a possibility for us to go ahead and give one more sweep lower before we go ahead and start to go higher, in my opinion, right? So for me, GJ, I will be looking to see if we can go ahead and go back into the bullish trend. For gold, I'm just a big fan of looking for gold, also seeking higher pricing. So those are going to be the ones that I'm focused on, mainly UJ and gold. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what we're at overall, family. But besides that, though, we do appreciate you guys for being here with us tonight. That's probably going to be pretty much wrapping it all up. Hopefully you guys were able to get, some interesting looking ideas for this up and coming week. I know I'm excited for it overall. Doing these weekly analysis is cool, but I like analyzing the market right when I'm trying to actually trade, right? So tomorrow morning, if you guys want to learn how to execute, right? Because I think we do too many times we get so caught up in trying to learn how to analyze it and not enough on learning how to actually execute on that, setup that you just analyzed, right? So if you want to learn how to execute on your positions, how to manage your emotions throughout the whole process, then definitely go ahead and join the premium community, Profit Society premium community, where you'll be able to trade with myself and the rest of the team. And we'll not every week is obviously a banger week, but we do aim to have some crazy phenomenal weeks, just like we had last week. But family, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll go ahead and pass it up to Skak so we can go ahead and close the stream off.
Yes, sir. What's going on, family? Listen, that's all we got for tonight. Some fire analysis was dropped. I personally have dropped some of my more detailed charts from tonight's levels and stuff that I'm looking at inside the Discord as well for the live trading members. So if you guys have access to that, I dropped that for you guys. So overnight, y'all know what we're looking for. But we love and appreciate y'all. We'll see you guys on here as well next Sunday. That being said, family, this is your boy Skag on behalf of the Profit Society team, and we are out. Love and appreciate y'all.